This video is an overview of Frostgrave 2nd edition. I just received my Kindle version last Friday, and so I've been skimming through both 1st and 2nd edition to kind of get a sense of where some of the changes lie in 2nd edition. Sorry if this video has been, I'm doing this with my Kindle, and so I will try and reduce any glare from both of the machines. So I do apologize. I like keeping my rule books on Kindle, and so this, you will see a few overviews on rules occurring on my Kindle. Okay, so chapter 2, playing the game. In this section, a few paragraphs here in playing the game have been like rewritten and stuff. Mostly cosmetic changes, but very few. Most of it is exactly the same as in 1st edition. Again, there's no real reason to change the core rules of the book. This is just a few changes to make everything flow better. Now, this is interesting. These little boxes that this edition adds, here they've added like little game tips, right? For example, try the corners. There's like a little tip in games played on small tables, like 2 feet by 2 feet. It gives you a couple of tips where you should deploy your pieces. And so that's interesting. So I like that. And these go throughout the book. So with those little text boxes, you get like optional rules, little game tips. That isn't in 1st edition. In 1st edition, you had mostly like, sayings from the characters, like actual story narratives, right? And then the phases, they go unchanged. You're not going to see much there. The creature phase has been rewritten a little bit. It is clearer. And of course, there's some new artwork, very nice artwork. This little section is new, swimming. And there's like a swimming modifiers table that has been added, right? And it gives you penalties depending on what you're wearing. If you're wearing light armor, heavy armor, a shield, whatever it is. And what's interesting is that in this little section, you also have like falling through ice and whatever. So it's going to be really interesting. So that was new. That little section was new. And the combat section, we don't see really a lot of changes. Again, nothing major. So the combat section, for the most part, is the same. And, you have here the shooting table with all the different conditions for penalties or bonuses. Shooting into combat, pretty much the same. And then however, there are these little sections at the end of each of the combat sections, and they're little summaries. This is not in the 1st edition, and I really like that, because then it kind of goes back and says, okay, this is how you do shooting. And so it has 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just goes, it just organizes everything a little better. So it gives you all the different conditions for shooting in a brief little summary, and that's great. And it does the same for combat. So that's really good. Oh, here is an optional rule in one of the text box. That's what I was talking about before. So as you can see, I mean, the changes are really not drastic. A little using potions section to kind of give you, a little description on it. Nothing major. Okay, and this is the creature section, and that has been reorganized a little bit. Again, no changes to the rules really, but he really things are organized here. For example, it goes 1, is the creature in combat? Yes or no? That sort of thing. And so that really makes the section flow nicely, right? It really tells you right away how the creatures behave. In Frostgrave, nobody controls the creatures. They're sort of on an AI. That's the way I like to think about it. So nice job here on this section. And the little text here, the little text box with random directions for creatures. So what happens if the creature has to take random directions? It tells you right there in the little box. So moving on. So again, this is the campaign section of the book, and little subtle changes. It's written pretty much the same as in first edition, except now you have, like all the different points. So after each scenario, each player should follow these steps. So all the steps are given with little bullets. And again, it's a lot more concise. Okay, and we're in the campaign section, and this is another little change that I'd like to mention. The survival table for soldiers has been condensed. And if you look at the old edition, you see that the die roll right in the front, right there, that die roll was 1 to 2, and then it meant if you rolled a 1 or a 2 on a 20-sided, your soldier was dead. This happens after the game. After the game is when you roll on these survival tables. So that's different. Now it's 1 through 4. So it actually increased a little bit, and the table is more concise, I'm sorry. And and there's less things on it. Before there were more things, like whether or not you had permanent injury or badly wounded, that's on there. Close call. He eliminated some of the stuff that seemed a little bit arbitrary, and now it's a lot more concise. The Wizard and Apprentice survival table, it stays exactly the same. No changes that I can see. Okay, this table, the experience table, has been changed a little bit. In the old edition, it starts with 10 experience, and then you get, and that's for each spell successfully cast. In this section, you get +5 for each spell, a failed attempt to cast a spell. Okay, so you do get experience for a spell failure. Of course, it's very little. But the rest of the table seems to be, it's different. I'm looking at the first edition book now. And yeah, it is different. It is rewritten here. The experience points, as I can see them in the new book, have been nerfed quite a bit. Counting treasure. Now you can expect some changes here. The table here for counting your treasure after the game, you see all the treasure tokens that you've collected, and then you got to roll to see what you have. Well, on this table, you can expect changes. For example, in the first edition, it seems like the treasure, the first few columns on the table, were very random. So it was like you rolled a d20, then you had to roll another d20, and then times that by 10, and that's the treasure in gold coins that you have, right? Or gold crowns. Not here. Here it's with the exception of these two columns here. The first column, it just gives you 50 gold crowns right off the bat. So there's no randomization, right? And as far as I can see, there have been some things that have been taken out, some things added. It is a little bit different here. And these subtle changes are going to, pretty much affect your treasure. I'm not saying in a bad way, just that it's going to change things a little bit, okay? But again, these are just small changes. All right, and these are just some explanations. And the potion table. Now, the potion table has changed as well. And I'm going through the things that have mostly changed, right? So, yeah, this has changed a little bit, I think. Yeah, pretty much the way the table is organized and what you get. So you expect changes here as well between first and second. It seems that things have been taken away, okay? And here you see, for example, the die roll is 1, so if you roll a 1, you get a potion of healing. And then in the first edition, it was 1 through 4, right? So if you rolled any number from 1 through 4, you got the potion of healing with these same stats. Now, I believe the purchase price... Okay, the purchase price is the same in both editions, but then you get a sale price, which is interesting. So now, this wasn't in first edition, this sale price. So you can actually sell your potion now, if you wanted to, for 50 gold crowns. So that's cool there, that little end section. There is now a new table for greater potions. Okay, and you also get their purchase price, their sale price if you want to sell it, and the cost of ingredients. So that's interesting. Certainly more detail in that section, and that's a new table. I love that. I love the artwork in the new book. It's pretty cool. And this is different. This is you now get fairy dust, which you can sprinkle over a weapon, and it does things to your weapon. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so market. This is market contact. Sorry, my Kindle cut it off. Um, so yeah, this is a new little section, and I guess it's an optional rule. It's in a text box, and it's a black market contacts. So that's cool. And that's a new section. I don't know how that works yet, but it will be worth looking into. Nice demon. And spells. Okay, so this section has been rewritten a little bit, and there are a couple of new spells. So, yeah. This spell right here, I cannot wait to try the spell. Animate Skull. This is a necromancer spell, and it basically, you can use like a skull token or make your own like little skull floating on a flight stand, whatever it is, but the spell allows you to create like this animated skull, and it basically behaves like a creature. So you can't control it. It basically goes by the rules of, you know, a normal creature that wanders into the board. But that is so cool. I just can't wait to try out and make my own skulls for just for that spell. Now, for the scenarios, which take up most of the book, the rest of the book, right? Um, we have new scenarios added, and that's great. I can't wait to try them. There are a few new scenarios here, and they are different from the first book. For example, I don't see Genie in a Bottle. This is the table for scenarios, okay? But you have, for example, the Complex Temple, the Orb is new, the Ice Storm is new, and I'm looking at the first edition table here. So again, in all these different die rolls, you know, the table has been expanded because there are new scenarios. The Summoning Bell. Okay, so cool. That is just great, and quite a few new scenarios actually. And this is why the rest of the book is dedicated to the new scenarios. And look at that picture. That is cool. Some kind of like a vampire. Looks like a vampire. Cool, cool, cool. Very nice artwork. And this is one of the most important sections in the new book. And I love that the author did this. This is where he talks about all of these supplements, the expansions, basically, all the books that you might have, like the Thaw of the Lich Lord. And he describes that expansion, and then he tells you whether or not any changes are necessary so that that book can be compatible with this edition. I love that. That's great. So in the Lich Lord campaign, no major changes are necessary. You can play it as is with this edition. Into the Breeding Pits, the notable changes: you ignore the rules clarification listed under the Tunnel Fighter, as it is no longer relevant. So again, he's telling you this is what you got to do to make that book compatible, and then you can use everything else from that book onto this book. So many times, so many games go through a new edition, and then I'm stuck with a bunch of expansions I can't use. This is great. And of course, this is because he hasn't really changed the core mechanics. So, awesome. So the subtle changes in the soldier table, you know, things like that, the new scenarios, all those things are going to impact the game, I think. And now, the only way to really know is to play the game. And that's it, folks. Play some Frostgrave 2nd Edition. We'll see how swimming affects the new games that we're going to have. And I can think of a ton of things already for terrain. Folks, thank you very much. This has been an overview uh, of Frostgrave. Have a great day, and we will talk very soon.